Good evening and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Mephisto, and always with me, my co-host, All My Feelings. Good evening to you, sir.
Eat it, buddy.
What is the Reel McCoy? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we send you off to watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we talk about it, break it down, do all that nice and geeky stuff. Today, we've got a wonderful guest, a guest that was here with us in the spooky October month, Little Fisty-Cuffer. Good evening to you, sir.
Hello, hello. Nice to be back, everybody. Thank you for having me for a completely different genre of movie, too.
Completely different movie and completely different off-the-scale shit. Okay. First, let's do this. To interact with us in the show, please at me on Twitter, at Mephisto. My DMs are open. Also, my DMs open on Instagram, apparently only to digital marketers all around the world, especially from India and Pakistan. Email the show at thereelmccoypodcast@gmail.com. And no, we are no longer live simultaneously on Twitch for reasons that we'll keep with the production team. Let's just say I'm a bit of a dick.
Guy.
Wait, I'm a bit of a dictator. And it comes with being the director of the show, which sometimes I have problem with my producer. We won't open that live on air because I'm an asshole. If you want to follow Fisticuff and not enjoy the stupid backstage shenanigery, you can follow him on twitch.tv/little_Fisticuffer. Yeah. Go give him a follow and watch him cook himself into a nice meal and also some other stuff. By the way, love the Anthony Bourdain trailer.
Yeah,
I hope you don't get dinged for that.
So it's actually a different Twitch channel that every time I'm not live, there's one that just 24 hours a day plays Anthony Bourdain. Yeah. And so I'm like, you know what? When I'm not live, just go play that channel because Anthony Bourdain's the best.
Awesome. That's really awesome. We've got Saf in the chat and we've got some few lurkers, and probably we're going to have a low turnout because, we're not on Twitch. Anyway. This week.
What did I say?
What did I say? Stop it! Shut up! This week, we have a wonderful film to conclude my birthday month. It is called The Fifth Element, a film directed by Luc Besson. I did say last week, if you were here, it is my favorite Luc Besson movie. One of quite a few I like. Didn't like Taxi that much. I did like Lucy, and of course, arguably his best film, not my favorite, it is Leon, the Professional. So Luc Besson, a very, very unique director. We'll touch upon that probably in Behind the Screen. You know what? Let's start with our first segment of the night. It's called Behind the Screens.
Production take 2.
Behind the Screens, where we go to All My Feelings. He'll take over the show and tell us what's happening behind this goddamn movie.
Okay, this is going to be a long one, so strap yourself in.
All right.
First and foremost, Besson started writing this film when he was 16 years old.
All right.
How old was he when it came out?
38.
Okay.
And
so, when he first started writing it, it was actually going to be a story about still Corbin Dallas, but he was supposed to be kind of a loser sort of stereotype that met a character named Lilu on a desert planet, but she was one of the what he wrote as a beautiful sand girl who was over 2,000 years old.
All right.
Some of it kind of translates a little bit, but we'll get to it. By 1991, Besson claims that he had written a 400-page script.
Damn.
That is
while working on Atlantis, which is a film that you didn't mention. It's a documentary. It's a really good one. By the way.
Haven't seen it.
He met a comic book creator called Jean-Claude Mezzanès, who actually wrote an entire comic book series called The Circles of Power. And a lot of the aesthetic that is utilized in The Fifth Element came from that comic. He was so influenced by it that he utilized how Corbin's taxi looks is exactly how the main character in Circle of Power's taxi looks. And it's a hover taxi.
Oh,
And the
nice.
futuristic aesthetic of New York utilized in the exact same way.
Nice.
Now, what's funny is he started to get some original kind of backing for it. He got Jean-Paul Gaultier. Yes, that one,
That's
designer.
The only thing I know about the movie Behind the Screens is that. Well, that and Mila Jovovich.
To sign on
yeah.
originally. No, this was back in the early 90s when it was first getting started in pre-production the first time around. He got him signed on to do all the costuming.
Yeah.
From the beginning. Don't know how he pulled that off.
I have an idea. Do you want me to share it?
Sure.
Jean-Paul Gaultier in the early 90s was one of those designers that was doing runway stuff, but also other things for various people that he kind of vibed with. He had a thing with Madonna. He had a thing with one of the chefs in France that he did like silverware for. Something like he did like few crazy things. Like I'll give you an example. You know the Eurovision song contest. You've heard about it at least.
Yeah, Eurovision. Mm-hmm.
So the representative for Israel in 1998 was a trans woman, and he designed not her first dress of the night. He designed a dress in case she wins. She wore that dress when she actually won.
That's awesome.
And it was and it was a close race too, so it was touch and go.
Got it. So he was like the person that wasn't like
he did a
it with
lot
movies.
Of like weird. Yeah, he did a lot of weird shit. He did movies. He did everything. Yeah. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent.
No, it's fine. That's fine. But moving on, from the original first round, Besson approached not only Bruce Willis but Mel Gibson about playing Corbin Dallas. Yes. In the original role. Now, what's funny is he hired not only Jean-Claude Maisonnet, the original creator of the Circles of Power comic, but his illustrated team and a team of 400 other illustrators to do all of the all of the shot by shots.
Oh,
because they wanted to actually make it a full comic too. At one point.
Oh, that's cool, man.
To accompany it. But all of a sudden in 1992, the rug got kind of pulled out from underneath them because, the budget started to balloon to a point where they were going to need $100 million. In 1992, from a director who is known for doing one decent film before that and then a documentary.
Yeah.
No.
Hollywood is not going to give him.
No.
So what was like the average like budget of a bigger movie like around that time in the mid-late 90s?
But the early 90s
80 million?
was, like that's the highest end,
Got it.
That's with big names attached.
So he was like
Schwarzenegger film,
he was like full sending this. He was like, this is absolute top. Which, by the way, quick note to go back to what you're talking about the script being 400 pages. I was really curious, and the average movie script is around like 90 to 100 pages. So that is 4 whole ass full length movies of script initially.
Oh yeah.
A Kevin Smith 90 to 100 minute movie would be around 150 pages.
Yeah, that's wild.
And he's all dialogue.
Yeah. And what's funny too is Willis did originally sign on for it, but he was apprehensive of being in the film at first until like he heard about the budget, and then he also read the script and he actually really apparently like he loved the character of Corbin Dallas. But he was really apprehensive. Do you know MF?
No, sorry.
Because the last couple of films that he was in was that absolutely bombed, and one of them was Hudson Hawk.
Sorry. It haunts us again.
Yes, it comes
It
back
haunts
around
us
again.
We are definitely going to review it next year.
Yes. So anyway, so after the original plans fell through in 1992, in 1984, Besson he wrote and directed Léon the Professional.
Yep.
And after that was actually a certified hit, then Columbia, the studio that actually financed and backed everything around the Professional, decided to go ahead and give him a shot on The Fifth Element.
Nice. I didn't look at the budget. How much was the budget? If you don't know, I'll pull it up.
The budget was 90 million, which we're going to get to. That's in my notes.
Okay.
But he originally Besson, to actually keep the budget kind of low, to keep everything actually into everything with the cinematography, what he wanted to do was actually hire a lesser known actor. But he happened to meet with Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis stated, "We can always come to an arrangement." And they did. Willis took a pay cut to be in the film.
Worth, man. It's
Yeah.
worth.
Oh yeah. Oh, he got money on the back end.
A back end, yeah.
A lot of money on the back end.
When you talk about pay cut in Hollywood, it's always okay. I'm gonna take a pay cut, but you're gonna give me like a percentage of something off the back, merchandise, whatever. You're gonna get me something, and if it works, it works. Just ask Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Batman 89.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, just ask. Oh boy.
Just ask Scarlett Johansson.
I don't like to bring up his name because it bugs me so much. George Lucas. Just ask George Lucas about rights about the back end and merchandising. Yeah.
It's where the real money from the movie is made.
Yes, sir. So then, moving on. So Besson actually hired Gary Oldman after The Professional, because he was, the primary antagonist in The Professional. But Besson is quoted as stating, at the time, Gary Oldman is one of the top 5 actors in the entire world.
I would put him in my top 10 for sure.
Yeah. I think so, especially in the early 90s. Yeah, he was really up there. But so, moving on to a very, very fun bit. Besson eventually chose Mila Jovovich to play the role of Lilu after meeting with 300 different actresses.
That's a lot.
In London, in Paris, and in LA.
Yeah. Seems about right.
The language that Lilu is speaking throughout the film prior to learning English is actually a fictional language that Besson came up with one of his writers, and they would speak it on set to keep her fluent in a fake language that they made up for the film.
Interesting. So it wasn't just gibberish. It was all like actually conversation.
Yeah. She was having an actual conversation. And the actor,
sort of the same way Klingon was made. They literally created it for a few sentences, and then it kind of rolled into a full language.
Okay,
and
that's awesome.
Ian Holm actually ended up learning enough of it to understand what she was saying when she was speaking it during her lines. Between Vito and Lilu, when they would speak. So the priest and Lilu, whenever they would talk, and she would speak in that language.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on from there. This is the first part. At the time, Besson was actually married to the woman that played the diva.
Okay.
After filming Wrapped, he left his wife and started dating Mila Jovovich. And they were married for a very short period of time.
Yes. And then she married the Resident Evil director, right?
Yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, what's funny is for this big of a budget, at the time, it had a more extended shoot overall. Overall, the film took 21 weeks to film in total.
What's kind of the average film time for
I'm thinking if it's I'm thinking, is it long? Is it short? It seems like it's like 21 weeks is
it's like 6 months
4 months
or 4 months, yeah, because there's
It's
52
about-
in a year.
It's 5 months.
16
It's about
5 months. Yeah,
overall,
16 weeks is 4 months, so 21 is 5 months ish. I don't know. That seems pretty long. That seems pretty long
At
to
the
me.
time, it was a very extended shoot. The only film that had a longer shoot time was the original Jurassic Park.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
But that made sense. What's funny is Gary Oldman and Bruce Willis never actually shared a scene, and they were never actually literally on set at the same time while they were shooting.
Yep. It's noticeable in the movie.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. Then, again, going back to how we mentioned John Paul Gaultier before, he did come back when the film actually did get finally picked up. He ended up creating outfits for 984 extras.
That is a lot, but
That's
yeah.
insane.
The good thing about this, and we'll touch upon this, is a lot of the shots in the movie is it's very cluttered with stuff, and you can tell reviewing this, you can tell a lot of it's very practical, and I fucking love it. Sorry.
Yeah. It's fine.
It's something I had to say because it was on my tip of my tongue.
Oh, yeah. Well, the practical effects in this film were actually really great. And the thing that's really the downside is actually the CGI, which we're going to get to because it's bad. It's a
Yeah. The CGR parts are not good.
It does not age well.
It made me think, remember we talked about this in Blade, and when we talked Event Horizon. Yeah, that
so bad. It's so bad. But what's funny is, notably, the most expensive outfits were Ruby Rod's, Chris Tucker's outfits, and then there were also some extras on there that their jackets cost $5,000 a piece.
I feel bad that I have no idea which check is.
Yeah, I know.
It's the jackets for Chris Tucker's handlers. It's like the three guys.
Yeah.
It's super green.
Super green. Oh, it's super green. It's so green. So green. Super green.
Whatever green you want.
When we get to that scene, if we don't skip it, it's those jackets.
Yes. And speaking of that, you can really understand that who they actually had cast to play Ruby Rod would have been so perfect for the role. Prince.
Oh man,
that is something I knew back in the day and I forgot.
Because that awesome line, especially when he does that line where he sneaks up on that one flight attendant,
yeah,
and starts just making the music, like you could see Prince. Oh yeah.
For me, like we can get into that more when we watch the scene, but like to me, like it came across as like super creepy. But if it was Prince, like it would have been so much more like smooth, suave, like just Prince energy. Oh man, that would have been great just for that scene alone. Even
it's like the Cream video, Prince's Cream video, where it's overtly sexual. That I can see that. I can definitely see that.
So,
but by the way, for the chat. Yeah. 21 weeks is a long time. They've reshot Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, about 80% of the movie in 6 weeks. So 21 weeks is a lot.
It's a lot. But no, he actually had to turn it down because he was actually on one of his last tours. Dave's going on. So then move on. Also, the role was actually then picked up to either go to Chris Tucker or Jamie Foxx.
Fuck, Jamie Foxx would have been great in it.
But Luc Besson went with Tucker because Tucker had more of the feminine kind of androgynous kind of body where he could pull off the costumes and he was He had the more of that look to him. And
that
then
wiry look, yeah.
yeah, and then one of the final notes is again, $90 million budget, but it made $263 million domestic gross. Yeah, it was actually a
worldwide
huge,
was probably about double that.
I think it was like 480 million.
I can check in a bit.
And then like that's not even including all of like the VHS sales, box office sales, back end dividends, and all that stuff. Like this movie actually made a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it made quite a bit of killing on the DVD market once it came out. I think it's 97, right?
Yep, I believe so.
97, a good year for movies.
97, 98 were really good years.
Did this movie like hit really strong coming out the gate, or did it start slow and then pick up momentum like later on, like a lot of movies do towards the end of the box office and into going to the VHS DVD?
No, I don't think it wasn't number one the first week it was in the box office, but then it made multiple weeks at number one.
Got it. So it came up pretty quick. It was not like
I don't see it. So
it was very
low.
similar to how The Matrix worked. Remember, because The Matrix, the first week it came out, it wasn't that big of a deal, but then word of mouth got around like, oh my God, you've got to see this movie. It's so crazy. And then it just...
Oh, Fifth Element. It says worldwide 63 million. That's wrong.
They're missing 200 million on that at least.
That's a little bit.
It says domestic 63 million and international none. So I don't know how they got.
Whoa,
to that.
that's not
wrong.
That's wrong. That's categorically false.
Box Office Mojo, go check your shit because I know it made a shit ton of money. All right, cool. So far it's been on and
the rest of the stuff is actually just has it's sprinkled.
No, as time go on.
Rest of the review,
we won't touch upon every single bit of the movie. We're just gonna touch upon the most, let's say, the more important ones. It starts off with the we'll start with this. With the cave. Let's talk about the entire cave situation, and I'll flash a few points while we talk about it. So we kind of discover through this archaeologist that there's some sort of fifth element conjoining the four element into some sort of weapon, and it's some sort of a hieroglyphic that this guy found. The main guy is Italian, right? And his assistant, Luc Perry,
which is Luc Perry, which is like everybody forgets that Luc Perry was in this film.
Yeah, and this was after Beverly Hills 90210 kind of left the screen.
Yeah, so this is like when 90210 was starting to wrap up and die down, because this was late 90s. So
yeah, this is late 90s. So this is Melrose Place time, not Beverly Hills time. Anyway, so Luc Perry is there. Do you get the most famous Aziz Light kind of thing? And suddenly you see a priest comes in, and he's kind of jittery, and he's trying to kill the archaeologist, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to kill the archaeologist, but he doesn't take the bait because he doesn't want to.
Does it in the most Italian way possible. Like you can't, cheers with water. Go get the grappa. And it's like,
yeah.
Hey, it's me, Mario, the archaeologist.
Yeah.
See, my first thought with that too is I was like, he's right, but don't throw the water away in the desert, man. I was like, at least drink the water and then like pour the booze afterwards. I'm like, shit.
That's exactly my thought. And once the Montechuan's craft kind of lands in, Luc Perry's character is completely frightened, but the archaeologist is like amazed.
When he turns
so
around,
dumbstruck.
The line that he says. Do you remember the line he says?
This is interesting, or
no? Are you German?
That's right.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yes. Are you German? Because this is 1925.
19. No, it's 1917.
1914.
1914. Okay, yeah.
So it's
No,
right
you're right,
around
yeah,
the time
yeah.
of World War One, right?
Mhm.
It's right
So-
before it, but this is when Germany was picking up its auto
Yeah.
industry, and it was just
So
getting started.
And Italy was on the Allied side as well. So, yeah, Italy was on the Allied side. Anyway, Luke Perry's character, I really don't remember the name, so shoot me. Well,
Doesn't
he
matter,
does
but-
shoot them on the Chuan. And the door
Yes.
kind of closes, and we get to see the Mondachuan guy kind of sacrifice himself to get the key to the priest and make sure the message comes out that this is important, and time is not important, only life is.
Yeah.
And he gets the key, and we move on to the future. And in the future, we get. Let me get this. We'll do this.
Tiny
Shut-
Lister.
Oh yeah,
man,
you know what?
man, I just
Tiny Lister. Now, last week we kind of discussed it. That we had two people from a movie called Friday, Chris Tucker and Tiny Lister, and both played. Well, Smokey is kind of like Ruby Rod, but Tiny Lister is definitely not Debo. Definitely different from his character.
yes.
But there are similarities.
But
A
you can
little
also
bit.
see that Tiny Lister just was way out of his pardon the pun, element in this role.
I guess.
Listen, go back and just listen to his lines. They're stuttering, they're jilted, there's no almost affectation to it. Even when he is supposed to be upset or worried, it's still this like deadpan, like
Let's just say this: from the entire movie, all the scenes with the like government or military seems a bit, not acting, but more like play acting. And they seem kind of off. I don't know what it is.
yeah, that's
See,
fair.
What's funny is like maybe it's because I wasn't viewing it from the analytical sense, but I took all of that as like that's how they wanted those characters to be. Like they wanted the military to be like I mean you think of the scene that we'll get to, in the bedroom and stuff like that, where it was I just interpreted like the military is just kind of incompetent, kind of like like I just put that into the characters. I didn't even think about it just being like actors out of their depth or out of their
And it might be.
Confident bumbling, yeah.
And it might be, but
You know what was actually funny is now you mentioned that Fisty, I was talking to someone else about oddly enough Spaceballs last night, and I kept thinking about this movie.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that because so last night was the first time I watched this movie for context for everybody, and all I could think of was Spaceballs, and I was like I don't know like which came first here. I was like there's just so many things that just like tie together and like the late 90s like sci-fi and stuff like that. And the other thing that I kept thinking of
Wait. Last night was the first time you watched this movie
Yes.
ever?
And that is part of the reason that Feelings was like, you need to do this because you would love this movie. And I think that you'd be fun to talk to about this. And so I was like actually really stoked because I was like, I've seen bits and pieces of it. And I actually like didn't know much about the plot. So I was somehow going in pretty blind. And all I kept thinking about was Spaceballs. And because of the Mandarin and stuff like that, I was thinking of episodes 1 through 3 of Star Wars, just for those guys in particular, because the faces kept reminding me of the Rolly droids. And I was just like it was like them with obesity.
Yeah.
Again, and remember, this came out before
Yep.
Phantom Menace, like a couple of years
'cause it was-
before.
so it was like
everything
2002 or
was in
something.
production already.
Mhm.
I see where you're getting from. Oh, that's a great perspective from a person that actually watched this for the first time. I know I'm a bit ahead of myself. How'd you like the movie in general? Just in general.
In general, I actually really loved the movie. I'm often a person who's like, I watch a movie and I'm like, that's awesome. I don't need to watch it again. I wanted to watch this movie again, not because I'm like, oh, I wanted to like pick at it and analyze it, but I was like, that was just fun. Like if somebody walked up to me and said like, they're having a drink, you want to watch Fifth Element? I'd be like, fuck it, dude, throw it on. It was. As we know from talking about horror movies, like I do have an affinity for just like shitty cheese in horror, in like movies and stuff like that, especially with horror and stuff. But so I loved like the scene I think that you have coming up here with the explosion, like the skull and stuff like that. I'm like, this is terrible. I love this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
90 CGI, man, it's so bad. I love it.
Oddly enough, Disney, you nailed it right there.
Yep.
Because Luc Besson, when he wrote this, what he had initially wanted it to be was the antithesis of what sci-fi was in the early 90s, well, late 80s and early 90s, where it was always dark corridors and always claustrophobic. No, he wanted it to be bright and bombastic.
Yeah.
That's what this movie was supposed to be. Yeah.
You can see that from everything from like Lilu's, orange hair and white clothing to, like everything. That makes a lot of sense if that's what he was going for. Like everything about it was much brighter, which I thought was fun. It was a fun movie.
It's the aesthetic of Jean-Paul Gaultier. That's his aesthetic. Bright colors, over the top. Everything is over the top. Even if you consider the pilot's outfit, where they fly to Floston Paradise on the like the big shuttle or shuttlecraft. It's so kind of weird, over the top, weird things. The stewardesses with their elaborate kind of sexy
that
thing.
Sky blue, and you notice that all of them have lighter skin and they all have freckles.
Yes, even the black actresses have freckles. It's weird and also weird because
I didn't notice that.
That's
and also
sort of
did you see that scene where you had it pause there?
Oh, sure.
This the same thing that happened to Zorg later. You see how he's starting to bleed from his scalp?
Yeah. It's just before the like fire skull kind of eats the fucking ship.
God. Yeah, talk about bad CGI. You didn't need that. You didn't need that.
It was the most Final Destination, just like over the top. It was so good. It's terrible. Don't get me wrong, terrible.
The thing that it reminded me of was it like Jason Goes to Hell, or like the New Nightmare?
Dude, it reminded me of The Mummy 2, where the sand eats the airship, but you could see the airship. There's.
I will give Besson credit though. If you want to talk about Mummy sequels, at least it's not as bad as The Scorpion King. Okay. At the end of the Mummy 2, yeah. Oh, boy.
Enough said.
Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad.
Anyway.
But what's important about that scene though is they set up the fact that it is basically the priest is telling them how it's essentially just evil incarnate. And he said, well, we're going to blow it up. Well, evil begets evil, and how they blow it, that they try to shoot missiles into it, and it just keeps growing and growing.
Did you notice that the priest is Bilbo Baggins, by the way?
Yeah, it's Ian Holm. Yeah.
Ian Holm, who recently died. He died like a year and a half ago, I think.
I didn't know that. That's too bad.
Yeah. So we get our introduction of Corbin Dallas. He has a nice little phone call from his mother, his first one, where we get to know a little bit of a kind of side backstory, a little banter.
Well, he first gets a call from his boss, Fingers.
His boss,
weird
first thing
nickname.
In the morning.
I don't want to know how you got that nickname. That's on you, sir. But
and then when he walks out, he literally gets accosted by somebody who's trying to steal from him. But you can already tell about the character of Corbin Dallas that he is unfazed, and he knows. Mm-hmm. Let's just say he knows who's coming to steal from him, because after this guy kind of disarms his own weapon and Corbin takes it, you'll see there's loads of weapons in that rack, probably from other people who wanted to steal from him. So it's also kind of a...
I don't know if you noticed, but their play on that whole joke about the button.
Yes.
With the other aliens with Zorg.
Exactly. It comes...
And at the end, Bruce Willis laughing was actually an accidental ad-lib because he couldn't stop laughing at the actor who's playing the junkie because he kept fittering and everything. They were like, yeah, it's a nice hat. And he goes, yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. And that little dance that he does, that little dance, you can let that go, but let's just leave it in there. Just for good measure, just to have a little bit of fun. And this movie, in parts of it, is a lot of just a little bit of fun with everything else. And comes later with the multiple Corbin Dallases and other stuff. Right, so the Munjin try to come back to Earth. They get accosted by the Mangalores, and their ship gets
Agnot and his crew, because Agnot is like this big leader.
Mangalores is the species.
Yeah.
They get accosted by Agnot and the Mangalores. The ship gets destroyed. Oh my God, we're lost. Let's just put this up. Literally just before they explode, that little ships that you see is the Mangalore ships, and despair. But of course, immediately they find remains of a handle of a case and someone. They think it's a Mondachewin, so they put him in a regeneration box.
And insert take 2 of terrible CGI.
I kind of like that. Not when you see there's the shots where they actually layer on the bones. That I didn't mind at all. It's when they switch over to the computer and then they switch over to the tissue, that when they stretch the tissue on the skeleton, that's where you can see the bad CGI for me.
Yeah.
It's
that's
rough.
Fair.
I just have to say, I could not stop thinking about his haircut in that scene. You paused the perfect point of his shaved. I couldn't stop looking at it. Like, I had to rewind the scene to like rehear the line because I was just like, what in the? I couldn't do it.
Literally, and it's prevalent throughout the movie. There are people that had literally shaved parts of their head, and instead of just leaving it shaved, they had that little plastic thingy.
Dome. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Zorg had it, and a few other like randos in.
And you know what this always reminded me of so much, Beth? Warhammer 40K. He could be a precursor of the Mechanicus.
Oh, I didn't think about the Mechanicus.
Talking about how,
dude, don't get me started.
The gene structure and how this is a perfect example of the ultimate being. So we have to recreate it. It's like, no. In most situations, you're like, no.
Yeah.
This is never. Have you not seen any horror movie ever? This typically never ends well for you, scientists, man.
No, it doesn't. And don't get me started on 40K. I'm literally catching up to all the lore.
I know.
Don't get me started. I like the fact that when they're looking at Lilu for the first time,
the general's like, I would like to take some pictures.
Yeah, for the archives.
I have to say, I was watching this with somebody else last night, and like I made a joke because of course she is Lulu Exponza, and like she's nude, and I went, nah, boobs, and then immediately after he's like, I need to take a picture, and I was like, they even put it in the movie. I didn't even need to make the joke.
No, they just think about how disturbed in the head Luc Besson is, why he picked Mila Jovovich, who was a teenage model at the time. Mm-hmm. Right, she was 19, if I'm not mistaken.
She was 19, or she had just turned 20. She was very young.
She was very, very young, and then he married her because hell yeah. Anyway,
well, again, he left his wife to marry her, and his wife is also in the movie.
The fact of the matter that the doctor is like he says specifically that she is perfect in terms of.
Well, even as she like the general walks up to the glass and goes like, "This is unbreakable, right?" Yeah, and she just breaks right through it.
Yeah,
and just knocks him out. Then goes out the other side, and the scientist looks back and just goes, "Perfect."
And that's after she runs away too.
Yeah, it's when she blasts through the wall, like the gold wrapper in the room, and just went out to started running.
You mean the tin foil.
Yeah, like where you
Whatever
can see
they made that
So
set
I
with.
see where you cut on the budget now, Luc Besson.
Yeah, it was literally, they were like, all right, so imagine like
Oh.
one of the stovetop popcorn bubbles. We want that, but
Yes.
a room is what I thought when watching that scene.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Also,
and
let's make it gold
yeah,
because that will make it look more important.
no,
Mhm.
no. Listen, it's like what they use in the satellites.
Yeah,
It's NASA.
you're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that. It does look like the fancy gold tinfoil that NASA uses for all the things.
Yes, dude. All right, so Lilu kind of escapes, and she is faced with either jump or get caught. So she jumps, falls into Corbin Dallas's
the one
taxi.
thing, just real quick, there is one thing that always made me laugh out loud, as I don't know what set director thought this was a good fucking idea to be like, it's the future, right? Inside the cop car, for some odd reason, from the rear view mirror, they have two glow sticks just hanging there, just chilling.
Awesome.
It's the future, right?
No.
Well-
You have to. It's the future.
Yeah.
Future. Speaking of the cars, the one thing that I started cracking up at was the fact that, not that the hover cars had like regular engine sounds, but that they had tire screeches, like when they
Yes.
were whipping shitties and like they were
Yes.
doing 180s, like they had like, and I was like, there's no tires, man, you're in the air, like awesome, but why?
Cause movie magic. I don't know. Every time they had to like brake and stop and move into a different direction was the same deal. It literally just to give you a sensation of a high-speed car chase. That's basically it. That was
it's the
the
same
thought process.
It's the same utilization of the record scratch, when
Yeah.
obviously there is no record player anywhere
Yeah.
in any scene ever.
But you can take any Mr. Beast video and you'll hear that record scratch.
Yep.
Anyway.
So we have
all I'm saying is bada big boom.
big
bada boom.
bada boom.
Bada boom.
Big
Yep.
bada boom. And immediately it's like, oh, that fits Bruce Willis like a glove because he's from New Jersey. So it's a big bada boom. Yeah, big bada boom.
And this was also at the same time that he bought that one town in the middle of fucking bumfuck nowhere where, he would play every night. Yeah, look up the town that Bruce Willis bought. It's
Dude,
a weird fucking story.
The man is a rock legend. Shut your mouth.
In his own mind, yes.
Shut your mouth. Go watch Hudson Hawk, goddammit.
Yes, please. All the questions, please.
No, I just I feel like anybody who you say when they bought a town, like inevitably it's not good. Like it is just whatever the reason, either they were just like rich and drunk enough that they're like, I'm just gonna buy this small town, or they have like weird nefarious goals, or they're like, it's just it never ends well. There's no good reason to buy a town.
May I remind you, Johnny Depp had a island that he had to sell, but he did have one. Also,
I feel like an island is less bad than a town because that's just like you want isolation.
you think about it, but Epstein also had an island.
There's
And
totally
scene.
nothing bad there.
Yeah.
And scene.
Well, but also, to Fisty's point, though, Kim Basinger also bought a town in the South in the early 90s. That didn't
Really?
turn out so well.
Really?
Yep.
Well, we have a lot of Meffy After Dark to catch up on later. Right.
Yep.
So, Lilu does tell Corbin before she faints that she needs to go to Cornelius, the priest, and he brings her to the priest, and he's like, he comes in, it's like, oh, we don't do weddings, which is kind of an
Yes.
off joke, but it's like, I don't need weddings. She asks for you, and she has a tattoo. It's like, who doesn't have a tattoo?
Well, then also he says the line before too when he stops, like, I only speak two languages, English and bad English. It's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first scene in the movie that like I was like audibly like chuckling, full on moving in my seat. I don't know why. I was like, that is the greatest line.
Yeah.
And when Cornelius is like, "Oh, it's the fifth element," and he literally faints,
passes out.
and he gets up to get David to like get the robes and everything, and Corbin kind of puts Lilu to, the bed area. He puts her on a couch or something, but then he does the creepiest thing in the world and kisses her, and in return gets a gun shoved in his head.
It was like, oh yeah, you're right. Should have done that. Should have done that. Should have done that. It's like, yeah you shouldn't have done.
You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that's not cool, bud.
And of course, he tries to communicate with her and actually does the name, and she gives him like this crazy ass long name. It's like short, Corbin Dallas, short. As if you would have said Corbin Dallas fast, it would have been shorter. I don't know. That's the joke. I guess.
Sort of the same thing when a lot of, I would say, less than respectful people speak to anyone who's foreign. They just amp up the volume of their voice as if that's going to help.
Yeah. Can you understand me? Anyway, they do get to meet. Corbin gets shoved outside, but before he
does
leaves,
ask the question.
Yeah, he asks the question. What does ectogamete mean? It's like never without my permission. I thought so. I thought so. And of course, we get the mom call again. I know I'm jumping ahead.
I was going to say that
you know what? It's a good point to stop. It's actually a good point to stop the movie because we're running a little bit late, like last week, but I don't really care. We are going to do our first segment of the night, which is Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee for the uninitiated is we take 10 posters of movies and their texture off, and we give Little Fish Stuff our guest guess what movie this is. And if he doesn't know, chat is always welcome to ask. I regretfully say it's about a 20-second. My mic.
Oh, there you go. Now when like you moved in, it sounded fine, but it sounded like you were a ways away. I think you're good.
Okay. The chat is about 20 to 25 second delay, so sorry. Go ahead. Let's pull it up. There we go.
All right, sorry. So really quick, I'll need the quick recap of how we're playing because like it could the idea was not coming through basically at all for the explanation.
Okay. So we've got posters of 10 movies. Mm-hmm. You need to guess which movie this is.
Okay, so that looks like an old Tom Cruise, and
it is an old Tom Cruise movie.
Okay, and
Feeling knows what it is.
Is it like Mission Impossible 2?
No,
I'm just guessing 2 because like the Twin Towers thing in the background.
Not the Twin Towers.
I have no idea.
It is wonky at the moment. What the fuck? Can you guys hear me okay?
You're good now.
It was like from 15 minutes ago, yeah. Okay.
Like, I know that I've seen this cover before.
You definitely have, even if you haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, okay, so it's not Mission Impossible. Shit, I'm gonna have to pass.
Okay. Feelings?
I believe this is The Firm.
It is The Firm.
The Firm, okay. Fuck. Oh god, I know that I know this.
It's David Duchovny, Julianne Moore,
Orlando Bloom, and Sean William Scott.
Oh god, I hate that. Because I could.
Everyone
I
says
got nothing,
pass, but I'm not sure from the different movie or not. Feelings?
Yeah.
Darwin had a theory about it.
But an evolution?
Evolution.
This movie's so good.
Still haven't seen it yet.
It's not Inglourious Bastards. What? Oh God! What?
Not Inglourious Bastards.
It's yeah. No, it's.
Scarlett Johansson, Taika Waititi, Sam
Okay,
Rockwell's in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh no, this is somewhat recent. It's. Damn, I'm going over 3 today.
Don't worry about it. Chat is a bit stomped. Feelings?
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit.
It's a good movie.
I know what you know what this is. Stop.
It's my top 10 movies of all time.
I
I
know.
love this movie.
I have like the other ones. I'm like, I know that I've seen this. I have literally never seen this image in my life.
I can give you
Really?
one of the actors and you'll get it.
You overestimate my ability with names, but hit me with it.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, Paul Giamatti is great in it.
I have no idea who that name is. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm sure I recognize the actor. I do. That is just biggest disconnect for me.
He nearly won the Oscar for it. I would say the other actor, but that would not help you because you'd be like,
No.
"Who's Tom St. Church?"
You're right. It would not help. So I guess I would chat
my-
too. We got to pass. Unless the movie's called Pass.
I like that the chat's like, oh my god, pass. Feelings?
Sideways.
Sideways. Okay.
Great fucking movie.
Oh man, I don't know what movie this is, but I need to watch it because I'm like, this is. I'm gonna guess
need to watch-
1987
Nope,
era.
this is 1984.
Okay. So close of what I was thinking, but not close enough.
It was close. Just the aesthetics, of course.
Yeah, like this is a great action movie, whatever it is.
It's not an action movie.
Oh,
It's a
really?
sci-fi movie? Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Any big mid-80s?
I don't remember this one, Matt.
Yeah.
At least I don't think so.
Technically, Saf should have because he was there throughout my 1984 stream.
Yeah.
No. This
Is it I was thinking the
in-
Manchurian Candidate, but no.
It is Starman.
Starman.
Got a couple more. Go.
Yeah.
An oldie.
Oh God.
An oldie from where I come from.
This is another one that like I know that I recognize. It's not.
It's famous for the famous line, "I'm ready for my shot, Mr. DeMille."
I got nothing.
All right, feelings.
I'm drawing a blank right now. I can't remember
It
this
is Sunset
Sunset
Boulevard.
one. Hard.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. This is a Boondocks, right?
Boondock Saints.
Or sorry, yeah, Boondock Saints. Not the Boondocks. Not the not the
Oh,
TV
we
series.
got, we got someone.
Oh.
Yeah, a little bit,
The
a little bit
Eric
late, by the
Eric
way.
one, yeah.
D's nuts. I had to flash it on screen. Hey,
Oh God.
Mama Susan allows it, then we can put it up on screen.
Oh God. I know the movie. I can picture the scene where he goes out the window in the morning. Is it Coming to America?
Yes.
Thank you.
No, it's not Coming to America.
No.
This movie bombed.
I don't know.
We have a winner. Ding, ding, ding.
Golden
This
Child.
is the Golden,
Golden
Child.
Child. What an awful film.
Awful. Two more.
Way to go,
This one
DK.
and the next one.
This is also a really fun movie.
This is just a fun all-around movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty dumb, but it's
Yeah.
like a buddy
This one
cop
is-
movie.
To be fair, this one's very forgettable, so probably a lot of people are like, what?
I think it actually made quite a bit of money. So it was relatively low budget, and it made about twice as the budget, somewhere like
Yeah,
that.
because this was
Okay.
right after Driver, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like early teens. I think it's
2012,
2011, 2010, 2012. I think. You're out? Fisty?
Yeah, I guess I get.
Feelings?
If chat's got anything.
The Nice Guys.
The
Nice
Nice
Guys.
Guys. And last one.
Oh shit. Okay. Let's think.
This movie is really, really bad.
And did this movie terribly bomb too?
It tanked. I
can give you George Clooney, so I got that going for me. But
I'm pretty sure George Clooney actually directed this one as well.
It wasn't this the one that was based off of the technically part of Disneyland?
I don't remember. I
got nothing though.
All right, this is Feelings.
Tomorrowland, right?
Tomorrowland.
It is. Yeah, it was the one based off of the actual part of the Disneyland park. Oh god, that movie's bad.
That movie is so bad. Here we go. We got someone. Yeah, I know. Chat. You're awesome. But the lag.
There's a delay.
I can't. Let's just say this. Last week was a learning curve for me when it comes to jiggling about with having you guys with less lag and me with more processing power. That kind of doesn't work well with Restream.
Oh,
so
and
we're gonna have to.
I was gonna say what you may have missed gaming. That's DK. It's DK Royce.
Yeah.
From Twitch.
All right.
So.
No problem. And I'm sorry, DK. I'm sorry, DK, that I've put a burden on you. It's not Feelings that did that. It was all me. It was me, Austin. It was me all over. All right, cool.
You are a very Vince McMahon kind of figure. You know
I told you, I'm the dictator.
I'm gonna need a clip of Meth like walking down, doing the Vince McMahon walk down onto the mat.
I may or may not have done that for a video that may or may not have been scrapped on a certain gaming channel.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. One thing that we
you know what? Let's jump to this. Zorg.
Yes. So now, are we going to talk about the conversation that Zorg has with Agnot?
The whole scene, the fact that the Mangalores are actually working for Zorg. They come with the case that was supposed to have the 4 stones, which the 4 elements, and in return they're gonna get the like super duper high specialty weapons from the Zorg company, from one of them.
Oh, the showcase and all of them on the back of the
showcase. If we're talking Spaceballs, right? This gave you Spaceballs vibes through and through, with the flamethrower and Zorg kind of looking back. It's like my favorite. Harking back to Yogurt with his Spaceballs, the flamethrower. The kids love this, right?
Yes.
It's great piece of cinema when it happens, and I fucking love it. Now, the other thing that happens is they found out the case has no stones in it. And they kind of get into an argument.
Right? One case for the one death, that's it. And as they walk away, Zorg is talking to his right-hand man, who, by the way, his name is Right Arm. He's listed just as Right Arm. But do you know who that is?
No.
Oh.
That's Tricky. The trip-hop artist, Tricky, who worked with Massive Attack for over, 15 years. Yeah.
Oh, cool, man.
You would love his stuff, by the way, Fisty. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hell is Around the Corner was his, big hit in the early 90s. Really good stuff. It's just trip-hop. It's awesome stuff.
Yeah, you said trip-hop and mentioned that they worked with Massive Attack for a year, so yeah, I'm already sold.
Yeah, yeah. But his line that he says to him, you know what I love is a true killer, a killer born. A true killer would have asked what the little red button did. And then one guy just
kaboom. It's a good piece of writing. Right. Moving on. I know we have to move on. I'm moving on to the priest getting hauled into Zorg's office, and Zorg kind of explaining his thinking,
philosophy, really.
His philosophy about it's to me, it always harkens back to Babylon 5, the Vorlons, who are the Order faction, and the Shadows, who are the Chaos faction. But it
Fucking
manifests itself.
nerd.
Fuck you. Anyway, it kind of harkens back to that, where the people who believe in order kind of believe in structure and in rules, and the people who are in evolution through order. But the chaos people always believe in war and strife will literally strengthen and sort of evolutionary based biology kind of thing. The strong will survive or develop or whatever through strife and war and action. And that's kind of Zorg's way of making that, sort of giving him his motivations why he wants the evil to come and destroy, right?
Well, and to be fair, I don't think that Zorg really even understood the concept of the evil itself.
No, but I think he got sold that through war and strife because he's a warmonger himself.
Yeah,
wherever there's strife,
kind of an
he comes in there, sells the weapon, and gets rich, right? That's his kind of development. And of course,
kind of like an intergalactic Nicolas Cage from Lord of War.
I need to rewatch that movie. It's so
Great
good.
movie.
It's so good.
I've heard good things. I always what I was thinking of was the game. Oh God, Alloy's the main character in it. The big PlayStation game. Oh God, now it's not coming to me. But the whole premise is about like the world, you know, the capitalists making all of the death machines to do all the things, and then like, it turned around and now there's consequences for this thing. But I thought like, yeah, it's just like if we do all these things, there's no problems. I'll just make my money and go about my way. Like,
you should totally definitely watch Lord of War with Nicolas Cage.
Definitely. And Jared Leto.
He actually does not suck in that movie.
Yeah, he's actually good in that one.
He's really good in that one. Right. So Corbin Dallas gets fired from the Zorg company, who actually have the taxi company is Zorg.
The rest of the conversation between Zorg and the priest too, when he's choking on the cherry. Is it like, well, what's your chaos doing? I'm like, well, what is the engineer who's building all these things doing now? And he hits the button, and he shows his little alien friend.
Yeah. It's a pet, undeveloped elephant. That's what I'm thinking about, and that should be it. I love the fact that he's...
But that's not what that is.
Yeah, when the cherry kind of spits out, it looks like blood rather than actual cherry. But we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
I just think that they had Ian Holm and Gary Oldman steal. I think they have the best scene in the entire film is at the end when they're leaving. It's just that little dialogue between them.
Oh, when he says,
"You saved my life, so I'll spare yours for now," and Ian Holm just says, "You're a monster," and Zorg just looks back. I know.
And
turns around and walks away.
Oh, it's like the camera just went out. You're just gonna hear. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
The sound of my voice. So, Corbin Dallas gets to talk to his mother, and she's complaining why he's a bad son because he wants some sort of competition, and he's like, "What competition?"
Yeah. And after he gets the memo from the guy,
he gets the memo where he gets fired. But of course, the Chinese guy who says that's okay because the dinner was on me. So there is a silver lining here, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, the military comes knocking on the door about, you know, getting a mission to go to Floston Paradise and getting blah blah blah. And of course, Lilu at the door. He hides them in the fridge by force. Answers the door.
And also before that too, the woman, they're like, by the way, you have to go on this island trip and this is your wife, and he goes, I'm not going with her.
Yeah.
It's like,
and the guy's like, what's wrong with her?
Yeah.
I've got a few things that are wrong with her. By
the way,
that's
no, it's also, but like, hey, Luc Besson, I mean, come on. Don't be a dick.
the major iceborg woman that I don't think she even has a line. That's her only kind of role in anything.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Only,
That's just.
Yeah, that's her doing the like that, and that's it. I think she's Norwegian or something. I don't remember exactly. So the priest comes in, and then you get the search, right? The police search, because they're still looking for him because he dodged the police while, getting Lilu out of there. And
no, he puts Lilu in the up shower, so she goes up.
Yep.
He puts the priest in the bed, which apparently just vacuum seals in it.
Yeah. And
the line from him.
By the way, who moved his name to another door? Was it the priest? He didn't do that, right?
No, I don't know who it was.
I don't remember.
Thought he did, because then his whole.
himself?
Because then the whole thing is there was no name on it, so then they went to the room next door, so they would harass the junkie that he knew lived next door. I thought that Corbin did that. I could be wrong.
I've seen it so many times, and every time I forget who did that.
Looked it up.
Yeah, chat knows.
The thing was that he asked them, "There's like, are you a human?" He goes, "No, I am a meat popsicle."
Yeah,
which is funny because the three military people that he's currently freezing to death.
But the thing is, because he was compliant, he had his hands on the thing. They kind of brushed it off, and then they went and saw Corbin Dallas. They opened up thing, and the guy was so antagonistic. They just picked him up, right? And he saves Lilu from the wash. Of course.
Auto wash.
Yeah. And he saves Cornelius from almost certain death. And Cornelius is like, I don't want to do this. He picks up an object or it's
one of his
metal
medals
or something, and it just whacks him over the head because he wanted David to go with Lilu. So, airport scene. Lilu Dallas multipass.
Really quick.
Fisty, what do you say? Yeah.
I have a question. What is it with 80s and 90s futuristic cop renditions that they always have to have the helmet that goes over the eyes? Where did that trend start? I just it was the first thing I noticed about it. I was like, yep, they got the typical nope, we got to have the cyber vision, and it's always just the cops. And I don't know if it's just because they're trying to make them more like robotic machine future cops, in the fascist cap stages or whatever, but it's always there, and I don't know why.
I blame 1995 Judge Dredd, but you can think whatever you want.
I always said, though, it's even before this, because it even goes back to Jean-Claude Van Damme's old films. There's that in some ways in Time Cop.
Time Cop was 96?
No, it's before that.
Before that? I'll check. Doesn't really matter.
But no, but I know what you're talking about, Fisty, because that's in a lot of 80s stuff.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a futuristic sci-fi thing. It's supposed to be kind of protective eyewear, but it looks like really flimsy glass, so it's if anything were to come close to it, it would shatter and get in your eye, so if anything, it's a detriment.
I don't know. I can't add anything to the conversation.
That's fine.
Let's just say this: the helmets didn't bother me. What did bother me? No, it didn't bother me actually.
David's helmet, David's fucking Devo-ass fucking helmet. Looks like he came out of the scene from the Devo music video from Whip It. He just spray painted his black and put it on top of his head.
I betcha Jean-Paul Gaultier got it directly from Devo. Directly from those guys. I'm not even joking. And he just sprayed it black. It's so dumb. It makes him look like a Jewish person rather than just a generic religion, whatever.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a super big yarmulke in a way.
Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does. So,
it's like a multi-tiered
multi-pass. why is this scene out of all the scenes is someone that you probably seen somewhere but never saw the whole movie? Probably you felt the same way, right, Fisty?
Yeah, it was this, and the other one would have been like when Chris Tucker's character is introduced.
Yeah,
Those are like the two
exactly.
things that, like, no matter what, if I was like flipping through TBS or something, like that was one of those two scenes every time.
Yes.
Corbin
Yeah,
Dallas!
something like it's one of the most recognizable things about this movie is literally this scene where David is trying to get on this fucking starship, then Corbin takes his place, then you get the Mangalores who are kind of dressed up like Corbin Dallas. They think it's Corbin Dallas because the cops kind of got that stoner or whatever, that
Yeah.
druggie, and they think it's him because it says Corbin Dallas and they got it from the cops. Doesn't work because there's a detection there. And then the guy, the tricky guy, the right-hand guy does come in a little bit late, doesn't manage to go in. And we get to see the priest kind of go through the landing gear, right?
Mhm.
Through there.
The ups and downs is when David comes back to talk to the priest, and the priest is sitting there and he's just spilling his guts out to the robot bartender. And he literally asks the bartender, like, you know what I mean? And the little monitor goes,
No.
would you like another? It's like, it's so good.
We go on the plane, and of course, by the way, from here on end, the editing becomes much better because we jump from character to character to character with snap editing, and it's kind of reminiscent to what we had in Hot Fuzz, where it sort of starts a conversation at one end of the edit and then completes it on the other end of the edit. And it happens very, very acutely throughout the sort of the whole Floston Paradise bit of the movie.
To be fair, a lot of Edgar Wright films are like that. Because if you think about it, Shaun of the Dead is like that. The End of the World is like that.
All
World's
the
End is like that.
is exactly like that. But in other movies, it's like that. But here it's Luc Besson. It's a little bit different. It's very different type of cuts, but it's very unique when it comes to like the storytelling. It to progress the story and like revealing different information. You get like sort of exposition dumps with the cuts to make you, the viewer, know what's happening.
Yeah,
but from different perspective of different characters. It's kind of unique, and that's what makes this movie a little bit more special than another Luc Besson movie where it's straight up just, not monotone, but different cut style, I would say. I know it's a little bit more filmy kind of thing, but it's weird, wacky, and fun. It happens with when they go into the launch, when they launch up, and all the parasites / the priest and everything,
and the build up to the Ruby Rod's sexual experience with that one flight attendant, where it's all just a great big play on an orgasm joke if you pay attention.
Oh yeah,
at all.
I don't want one position. I want all the positions.
Yep.
And you can definitely swipe Chris Tucker with Prince and it's like get a whole different thing going on. But as Ruby Rod comes into play,
at first, yes,
you see the guys in the back. That's a $5,000 jacket. I'm not saying I know, but I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing. It's that guy. It's the other two. I'm telling you, it matches up with the whole Ruby Rod outfit. It fits. I know exactly where the money went. It's definitely to Jean-Paul Gaultier's pocket. So
So, Fisty, so your first, this was your first time watching the film.
Yep.
What were your first impressions of Ruby Rod?
Oh yeah, that's something I want to know.
Okay, so two things on this. My first thought was, God damn it, feelings, because of what you had mentioned about his hair, and that it looks like a certain inappropriate thing that people sometimes use when they're by themselves, and that's all I could think of the entire time he was on screen, and I had never noticed that before. Since we're on YouTube, we will keep it PG for now. But no, like Ruby Rod's character, like at first I was kind of like iffy. Like I was just like, okay, like yeah, like you know, he's the loud, boisterous, androgynous, like you know, the show must go on, like at all times, whatever else. But Chris Tucker grew on me throughout the movie. Like I was cracking up at the scene where he was like screaming under the table, you know, toward like later in the movie and stuff like that. Like I don't know what it was. I was like, he grew on me. I was like, this is hilarious. But at first I was like, okay, I know exactly who they are. The second the camera's gonna cut, like it's gonna completely change at first, like whatever, you know. And so then of course then the scene did. He cut. It was like immediate, get the cigarette, do whatever else, and was like, I need more like pizzazz. I can't remember the exact line, but like, he's like, I need more from 5 to 7 tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's about what I expected from him.
Says no fire, no energy, no nothing. You get that?
And before too, like I love his instant dismissal and what he does to people, because he does it to his entourage to talk to Corbin.
Oh,
Yep. Yeah, like the server, like later with the with the champagne and stuff like that. It's always just the immediate disregard and shutdown.
Yeah,
Like,
sort of
what does it
like ultra high-end Kardashian type of sort of whatever you see on TV. From what you would expect a celebrity to do once the camera's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the take. So, right-hand man gets exploded by Zorg. He is very disappointed.
He said, "It is. I'll never do this again." You're right. You won't.
You won't.
Boom.
I love that line.
And after
this
the
is
plane
after
takes off,
when they're taking off too, the line that Ruby Rod says to the flight attendant, again, going back to having Prince in that role, would have been so much better. He says,
Yeah.
I swear, I've never felt this way about a human before. So you mean that? Yeah!
yeah. And he paused to think about it. It's like, yeah.
Totally, absolutely.
And of course, you get the Mr. Evil. Mr. Evil on the phone for you, Zorg.
His name is Mr. Shadow.
Mr. Shadow. Sorry, Mr. Evil.
I have to correct you on that.
Professor Evil.
So, because it's so important.
Yeah.
The giant ball of evil in the sky, yes.
Get to talk to Zorg and kind of inflict, I would say, pain on him with the whole whatever it is, oil, whatever it is, the black shit. And Zorg kind of springs into action, of course, with other people that are going to.
Well, because to that point, too, when he said, just so you know, my price has tripled, and what does Mr. Shadow say?
His cost is tripled.
Cost, yes.
Yeah.
It said, well, money is not important.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing with like the I can't remember the name.
Time is not important. Only life is.
Only life is. Yeah.
It's literally the opposite.
Yeah.
Sort of pits it against each other. All right. We get to Floston Paradise. We get settled in. Lilu's kind of being contacted by not Plava Laguna, but one of her handlers. They don't even talk directly. She kind of talks into the corridor, but she knows Lilu is there. Okay, just wait for Flava Laguna to finish, and she'll give you the stones. Yes.
How the hell did the priest survive?
I don't know. No idea.
Think about it.
Maybe he's an alien.
He's the all-powerful
everybody
sixth element.
settles in. We get to see. Of course, before that, we get to see the whole entourage and the kind of scaredy cat attendant, which is the guy who was in There's Something About Mary.
He was also.
He was one of the guys who was trying to get in bed with Mary, and he was the guy in the crutches.
Yes, he was also in kind of a bit actor for a little bit in the mid 90s.
He's done a lot of
Dead Man on Campus.
He's done a lot of little different side roles, side characters, and all that. He's always the like bumbling idiot kind of deal, so kind of fits, I guess.
One thing's funny too is the entire opera house, the original scene, the scene how it's shot at the beginning. Obviously, not when everything's blown up, because clearly them doing that would be absolutely ridiculous. But that was actually this entire area. That is actually the Royal Opera Hall in London.
Is the Royal Albert Hall? You mean? There's two different ones. There's the Royal
Opera House. Yeah.
Opera House. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's the Royal Albert Hall and the Royal Opera House.
Opera House, but it's a Royal Opera House because they initially Luc Besson actually wanted to film this all in France, but he couldn't actually get the location set in time in order to film it on time and on budget. So they actually had to film most of it actually in London. So,
if I'm not mistaken, I think maybe it's for a different thing. I think he originally wanted the one in not Venice, in Austria, in Vienna. He wanted that one.
Oh.
But it didn't quite fit. Because it's a much, if you look at it from like Flava Laguna's perspective, it looks grand, but it's mostly sort of red-ish. You can see it in the picture. I'll flash it again. You don't get to see it like that. It's mostly like golds and reds. In Vienna is very golden and very grand if you're standing on stage looking at everybody else. I think it's that movie. If I'm mistaken, then I'm sorry, but he wanted it but couldn't get it.
I would say too is just the introductions that that Ruby Rod gives to all of the pseudo celebrities, and the first one he goes like, which I don't know how he's going to enjoy it because he's deaf.
Yeah.
And he's like, who is this for?
All right. Now we have a little bit of sort of scene kind of weird amalgamation of music and whatever you get. Because it starts off like a normal opera thing. Everybody's in awe. And then on the flip side, on Lilu's side, once she sees the Mangalores kind of going into Flava Laguna's room and killing her like two handlers, she kind of springs into her sort of hero type Fifth Element role. After, of course, while she was flying in, she kind of catches up to like martial arts, basically, and all that stuff, where that kind of springs it to action. And when Flava Laguna turns from opera into like hyper opera, I would say, it kind of mirrors what happens in the room. Now, the only thing I wanted to do is ask Fisty, how'd you like that scene where it kind of switched in terms of musical style as well?
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie for a couple of reasons. Like, you know, because at first it's like the classic like mafia movie or show of, you know, the you know, the kingpin is out with the family at the barbecue and the music's playing as it then cuts back to, you know, his henchman torturing somebody and somebody, like, it's like it had like that vibe of like just tying in the song itself to what is going on and stuff like that. But then seeing like Lilu like kick into gear and like switch to just start doing like some rad martial arts and stuff, like I was like, oh shit, like let's go. Yeah, like this right here. But I was also just super fascinated by the vocal part of the singing itself, of like this weird almost like electronic influence, like you called it, like the hyper opera. Like I was just like, what is like obviously like some of it was not
it's
like
sampling.
actual people, but
it's
like
literal sampling.
yeah, like but it was still, I was just like, this is awesome. Like it fit together really well. It was fun, and like this is where I could feel it like picking up a different pace, right?
And exactly like that, because it's right before the Mangalores kind of take over. You get a little bit of the shot that I put up of the Aknot in disguise, because we've seen him in that disguise where he kind of started to talk to Zorg, and Zorg tells him, Aknot, just get rid of that thing. Just look at me with your regular
Yeah,
face.
it doesn't suit you. Yeah.
It doesn't suit you. So we know that's Aknot, and that kind of that sort of situation, and it turns into a head where they're going for the stones because they think it's there. And the thing with this is a couple of years before the Matrix, yet Lilu does the sort of a come hither thing, that it's a Bruce Lee thing. It's a homage to Bruce Lee every time you get to see that, done very tasteful. Because she doesn't go all kung fu on them. She gets to kick their asses, right? But she doesn't go full on the Matrix.
And you know what else this really reminded me of so much? Firefly.
It does, doesn't
Lilu
it?
is River.
A little bit. Lilu's River. River Tam. If you haven't seen the show Firefly, you might have seen the movie Serenity, which you can definitely watch without watching the show. Trust me.
Yeah,
I
you
haven't
can.
seen the show. I've seen Serenity, then actually went down and watched the show. Liked Serenity more than the show, personally. But yeah, it's River Tam. It's the same kind of characters. The all-powerful, sort of like little girl, but a badass motherfucker because she has powers.
Yeah, I also like that they kind of like kept the fun goofiness in it too. Like it wasn't just like badass, but like the whole thing where the guy's like about to get knocked out, and Lilu's just staring at him, and the guy's behind. Yeah, she slaps him a bunch, and he's like dazed, and then like the dude is right behind her, and she just hits him with a pop pop, so like hit them both at once. I was like, yeah, all right, like it's a little cheeky, it's a little fun, like it kept that spirit in it, which I really liked.
And the music that follows everything kind of sets you in that mood where we were in like comfort mode, now we're in fucking attack mode.
Yeah.
And that kind of hyper opera, that sampling that they did, kind of puts you in that mode, in that little like house or rave kind of mode where you're like, oh, let's go.
And also, just to that point too, I could totally see Sam Raimi directing this film.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I could 100% see that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to be more wacky or less wacky.
I think it'd probably be a lot more wacky, but a lot more fun wacky.
but then here's the question: if Sam Raimi did this, who would Bruce Campbell be? Because either he's going to be important or he's going to be a cameo in here at some point.
I would. I could go for Bruce Campbell at that point in time, being Corbin Dallas. Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because
he doesn't do a lot of
1,000%.
even when it's the actiony bit, like you would expect the Bruce Willis bit in the movie, the Die Hard bit in the movie. There's not a lot of like extra jumping or running or doing anything. There's not anything crazy, right? He mostly gets shot at, not shoot. Like most of his shot go in, so he doesn't have to shoot a lot. But yeah, I could go with Bruce Campbell. I think so, right? Right. So there's not much to say about the craziness of the Mangalores kind of taken away. Corbin Dallas kind of finds out, and again, that's where the like cuts in with Zorg coming in and kind of thinking. Like he shoots at Lilu, not at her, but tries to kill Lilu, gets the case, and he thinks there's the stones with them, runs away after he puts a bomb in, opens it up, and as he opens it up, he closes it. He's like, they're not here, cut to Flava Laguna saying the stones are in me. So that's a lot of these cuts come into play.
And I do love the Gary Oldman's acting when he opens that case, and the look of just like sheer maniacal laughter, like I've won to
oh my god,
It's so good.
Yeah,
he's just phenomenal.
Like I took the bait for like the first quarter of a second, and I was like, no, his laughing. He did such a good job with that.
And that bait is there for anyone who's never seen the movie. There are a lot of bait. It's even at the start of the movie where he opens the case and it's like, he closes it. There's nothing in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of harkens back to that, but this time it's like, oh my god, he finally won. Oh, he lost. And of course,
Ruby Rod too is recording this the entire time.
Yes,
Still live.
That's what I wanted to get to. The action itself is just a standard action thing, but the fact that you have Ruby Rod kind of mouthing off and staying live throughout the thing. When I watched this for the first time, I kind of didn't realize he's still on. I didn't realize that until they get to the small to basically to Zorg's ship and they run away. It's like, oh, cut. It's like, we're done. It's cut. And he moves and he says, that was my greatest the greatest show I had ever. It's like, oh shit, yeah, he was still on.
Oh yeah, I definitely didn't realize that until that scene.
Exactly. I would just side note too. If you want to give yourself alcohol poisoning, take a drink every single time he says Corbin, my man.
Oh yeah,
really?
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on.
Chris, calm down, brother. But we have the setup little pratfall gags and everything where he ends up getting caught at that one point in time, and he just goes.
Yeah, and it's Chris. Like,
well, he's even talking to the microphone. I think Corbin trying to tell me something.
And after that, they go into the control room and they send someone in to negotiate.
Wait. There is one good bit in there too. It's with the deaf celebrity where he's looking at him going, the gun.
Oh yeah,
gun.
Give me the gun.
Goes,
and he throws like two pool balls.
Balls.
Yeah.
Thanks.
See, but like I was cracking up with that, but to me that joke was 10 times better because it like came back later in the movie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like inherent callback jokes from even something that was 15 minutes ago. It's like, yeah, that's that's good writing.
I love the fact that before he went in, he was into like the soldier mode where he looked back. It's like 7 on the left, 5 on the right. He goes in, shoots. It's like 3 on the left, 2 on the right. And now they want someone to negotiate because they literally got destroyed. And he comes in, shoots the guy, and
because it's like, well, they won't
anybody
fight
else wants to
they have a
negotiate?
leader there. Yeah.
Anybody else wants to negotiate? No. And they give up, and they go and take Zorg's craft as Zorg tries to cancel his own bomb.
Well, it was before when they actually get.
Oh,
he finally gets to
after
Lilu.
This, they went to save Lilu.
And then they find the bomb, and they're like, and again, Chris, Corbin, man. You know how to fix this, right?
Yeah.
It can't be a bomb. There'd be an alarms going off. Comedic timing.
Yes. So they run to Zorg's place. Zorg comes in, and he puts in the little card that deactivates the bomb 5 seconds before. And then a Mangalore, who is barely alive, puts it up, clicks it, and what do you know? They have another bomb with 5 seconds left, which is like a poetic justice for Zorg. And kaboom. Right.
And again, that harkens back to Fisty, him opening the case and that maniacal laughter, like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Exactly. And that was 2 minutes before that. But the action is so fast, and you switch between Zorg and Corbin's team, and then back to him. Then when they save Lilu, and they go back to Zorg, and then Mangalore's kabloom. And of course, like I said, where is it? Where is it?
You mind it?
I'm trying to find the fucking Chris Tucker moment. All right,
well, which one?
There we go.
There are so many.
Oh, I know. And to be honest, he's my favorite character in this. And like I said, this is the moment that was like, oh shit, he was on the whole time. That's why it kind of cuts to the president's kind of ready room all the time, because you can hear Chris Tucker in their radio, right? I didn't put the two together. Like Fisty didn't put it together. When I watched this for the first time, it's like, oh shit, oh yeah. And when he drops it, that was the best show ever. Cause for radio DJ like this, yeah, you would expect the craziest time. He was never in any fight. He was never in nothing crazy. This is like the most monumental thing you can be at.
Yeah, he was the best Instagram influencer before the concept even existed. Nope, we gotta stay live, we gotta do the thing. I gotta be like all over the top, extra. It doesn't matter. For that not existing, he nailed that perfectly.
Exactly. What I was thinking too is Fisty like, so this is the future of Twitch.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We are going to take a short little break here with the show where we do our second segment of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1. Fight.
What is Screen Fighter for the uninitiated? We take two movies, put them together, and see which one is the best one. There's no discernible difference between the two. Both good, both bad. We fall to our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. Mike, again, son of a bitch. How's it now?
I think it's something about the scene transition.
It could be.
Because that's what happened. It was cutting last time. That's when it swapped.
Is it fine now?
Yep, you're good.
All right. Two movies, pit them together, see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both good, both bad, we fall to our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other. We pop in this movie. Which one is the best one? Chat is more than welcome to assert your dominance and fail.
I have not seen Hellboy 2.
Scary Movie or Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. It's okay, Fisty. Just, you know what? On a whim. I don't want to press haven't seen it, because I definitely see
That's fine.
Out of just sheer thing, which one will you pick?
Knowing my...
Wait. Have you seen the original Hellboy?
Yes, yeah, the one that came out the early 2000s. Yeah, no, I saw Hellboy. Hellboy was great. Yeah. Really enjoyed it. But I still think, if we're, out Friday, Saturday night, I'm chilling with the crew, especially the people I know, we would go Scary Movie. Okay. Just for nostalgia's sake alone.
I would have to agree with Fisty on this one, because I'm sorry, Hellboy 2 is kind of a slog.
Even if it was just Hellboy, I would go Scary Movie personally, not because it's a lighter tone. I just didn't like Hellboy at all. Not the first one, definitely not the second one.
And definitely not the reboot.
Definitely not the reboot.
Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah. Weird Science or Lilo and Stitch. Fisty?
Oh man, I don't know much about Weird Science, but still, Lilo and Stitch is one of the great Western animated movies from that time. So I would go that. Plus, I always had a crush on the aunt. So
All right.
Can't turn that down.
That's the Japanese poster.
That's the Japanese poster.
Yep.
Correct. I'm starting to recognize
You're starting to
Japanese characters. I'm not gonna lie.
kanji now.
Yeah. Plus, it goes like this. Never mind. Go. Which one?
Weird Science. Oh God. I love that movie so much.
Chat says Lilo and Stitch so far.
And even they made a series of it too in the mid '90s.
I've seen it.
That was on USA right before Duckman.
Oh, really?
God. Yeah, it was. Oh God, yeah. There's too. I have too much sentimentality when it comes to Weird Science. I love that film.
For me, it's Weird Science. Just the better movie all around from the two. I love the concept. I like the fact that with Weird Science, they could have gone raunchy, but they literally scurried that line between raunchy and like X. Really, it's really right there, but it doesn't go over the line.
Yeah.
There's no nudity in it whatsoever, because after all, the two guys in the movie, the premise is that it's two high school students kind of invent a woman, right? They invent a machine that makes a woman.
But she can make anything that they want come true.
Yeah, it's sort of a they make a genie-esque type woman.
And her at the end, it's Bill Paxton, the older brother Chet, that turned him into a literal talking pile of shit.
Yes,
because they think he's a pile of shit. It's so dumb. It's funny.
It's great. Put it on your list, man. Animal House or Tropic Thunder?
This is a tough one.
That's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
This is shit.
You want some time? I can pick easy.
Yeah,
no, it's not easy, but I know which one I'll pick. For me, Tropic Thunder. In many, 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 many ways, it does what it does better than Animal House. Animal House is not only John Belushi, it's various other actors that have their like small roles in them. Stephen Furst, even Donald Sutherland has a funny bit in it. It's really funny. It's really hard hitting. Animal House, Tropic Thunder, much better at what it does as a satire, as a social commentary, as overall funny movie. Plus, Tom Cruise in a fat hand suit.
Yeah, I agree with that. No, I'll second that. Tropic Thunder.
All right, is it Tropic Thunder?
I'm definitely gonna have to go with Tropic Thunder, even though I appreciate that without Animal House there wouldn't have been a Tropic Thunder. With anything that comes, because it all comes from basically the satire that comes from National Lampoons, and this was their big first film was Animal House. So I think without it, the satirical comedies would have suffered forever, and Tropic Thunder is a byproduct of it.
Cool. Last pairing: Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and The Shining.
Easy for me.
Also, another Japanese one.
Yeah, actually, like I love the aesthetic of some of these Japanese covers. Now, I'd go Lord of the Rings. Easy for me.
Wow.
Okay, so here's how I describe The Shining. Because I watched it a couple years ago for the first time, so I was like an adult, whatever else. I watched it. I finished it. The credits rolled. I looked at the person I was with, and I went, "That was a great movie that I have no interest in watching again." I just like so yeah, Lord of the Rings for me.
Okay. Feelings?
Oh no! I've got a rant coming, so Matt, go ahead.
It's really hard because I like The Shining a lot. I'm not a horror film guy. I like The Shining a lot, but it would be Lord of the Rings for me. With 17 million endings of Return of the Kings, because that's how it was in the books as well. Even worse in the books. People don't realize that there are 17 million kind of endings in it, and it goes for much more detail and longer. I love Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I love The Shining. It's Stanley Kubrick, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I love Stanley Kubrick. We discussed it last week. It has to be Lord of the Rings for me. Right. Rant away.
As a diehard Stephen King fan who has read the original, I can't tell you how many hundreds of times, it will always be The Shining for me. There is so much more in the novel that Stanley Kubrick had to cut out, which I agree with the cuts that he made, and Stephen King actually hated him for the cuts that he made originally when they sold the script.
Not surprising.
Yeah. Then in retrospect, years later, when Stephen King got sober, he's like, yeah, no, it's actually a solid film, and a lot of the things that had there were a lot of hyperbolic nonsense that made absolutely no sense even within context of the film. Because there's a lot more about Room 23 and the...
Yeah. You told me you told me last time we talked about The Shining to get more involved in the what was going on with Stephen King. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. When I got into it, it's like, oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You should definitely read Stephen King's opinion about this movie then and
now.
later on.
Yeah. Because what's so funny is that when the sequel, which was Dr. Sleep, which came out just recently, Ewan McGregor was in it.
I haven't seen it.
They gave the utmost, like Stephen King gave the utmost applause to the director and the screenwriter at the time for it. But now he's actually gone back and kind of rescinded some of his remarks, saying that he has some now critiques about Dr. Sleep. Before, when he praised it when it came out, it's like, are you John Kerry, Stephen King? You flip flopping on me, brother?
Doctor, whatever. Anyway, it's gonna be Lord of the Rings because chat is king as well. I'm sorry.
Well, just because you're wrong, it's fine.
It's fine. It's always fine between friends. So.
Oh no! This is done. We're done now.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the last episode of Ruin Your Friendship, I guess.
Yeah, it'll take more than I think it'll take more than that to ruin our friendship. As far as I know, but
see you live in less than a month and a half. So yeah,
we'll know more. Mephi after dark.
Yes.
So we're going to the temple where we saw at the beginning of the movie with the archaeologist. But on the way, we get a little bit of insight into Lilu's character where she goes through, the encyclopedia, gets to W because it's closer to the end.
She finally
gets to see war. Now, yes, I agree. With your face, I agree. That scene was at the outmost political kind of saying by the director. It should not have been there, in my opinion. It was
just what it reminded me so much of?
View on war.
But you know what it reminded me of in the worst way possible? This is an odd callback, but the Street Fighter movie. How they created Blanca in the Street Fighter movie. Where all they showed him was images of war and violence to create that. So they're having that subtle reaction. And that same kind of concept was inherent in the last scene of A Clockwork Orange.
Yes, that's exactly what it was, but in reverse. Because in Clockwork Orange, you get to see. Have you seen Little Fisty? Have you seen Clockwork Orange? Good. Images of violence and war and strife, but the subject is being sort of deprogrammed from violence in terms of that. But you get to see sort of the same images, and for me, it was like. I would be happy without that, but it's almost the only thing that kind of bothers me.
And also, didn't she already go through the whole learning thing? By the way,
That's what I was gonna
You
say, and
gotta
also
go through all of this shit to begin with.
but also like if you're going word by word, how could you make it all the way to W before you're like, no, humanity does not deserve to be saved. Like this is bad. Let the asteroid hit it. There are a lot of words between the A's and the W's that I feel like would be like, no, this is all treacherous and horrible, and it needs to end.
Oh yeah, murder.
Yeah, like
murder.
There's quite a few. Like, but yeah.
All right, so they get to the temple, but they don't know how to work the stones because she is so distraught from looking at war, she can't answer a question.
Oh well, yeah, because now she's seeing the horror of humanity. Like she should have had that realization earlier in the film. Then they would go on the trip, build it that way instead. But I did want to go back to when they were on the ship, because there is one good line that the Bruce Willis has in the scene with Tiny Lister, where it's just like, well, how much time do we have left? An hour and 57 minutes. And he goes, well, I'll call you back in 2 hours.
Yeah, I'll call you back in 2 hours. Yeah, I love that. I love that. There are, like I said, there are a lot of like jokey moments that are kind of by the by jokey. It goes so fast. You're like, oh, hey, and the scene have already passed. Mm-hmm. The joke has already been made because it's a drop line and we're moving on. So in this part, and again, jokey moments where David is like having that little breath and not enough to fully open it, and they don't know what happened. It's like, oh, I just stood here with my hands here and I said, we're not going to make it.
Good.
What else? Nothing. That's what I did. And he takes an extra half breath to literally open it just a little bit more. And then the realization what is going on. It's like,
side note, just the perfect screen grab of Chris Tucker's face there.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it happens by random chance. Most times it doesn't.
But they have that, and then also
I've got a better screen grab now, by the way.
do you know that overall this happened in essentially what, 1 day overall?
Yeah. The travel time. I know the travel time does not.
One day though. No, but just in context. 1 day. He's supposed to just be like, well, tell her that you love her, and it's like, this is a really fucked up relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that Lilu needs Corbin's love to be activated, kind of a weird thing. Again, it's kind of a weird thing with the whole war thing. It seems like it's being jammed in just to fit the narrative that he wanted to tell. Again, it's a bit nitpicky for me if we're looking at it critically. If we're just watching it once, maybe twice, like, that's fine.
That was the part of the movie that was like I thought it was gonna be like another misdirection, like joke or whatever else, and I was sitting there, I was like, this can't be like actually no really like it. I don't know it. I thought for sure it was gonna go like earlier where they went in for the kiss and got a gun in the face. Like I thought for sure it was gonna be like an adverse reaction or a bait and switch somehow. I was like, they can't just be doing this.
It's just a little bit too late in the movie to explain where it comes from.
Well, you could even pull it the other way. Instead of war, it could just be just like human compassion. The fact that, like, no, I care about you. Like, well, because that makes sense. Like, someone, like, you've been through all of this trauma over this period. Like, no, I'm starting to care about you. This is human compassion. I'm trying to take care of you. Showing that empathy would be the opposite of war. Not like, I am in love with you because I met you at 10 o'clock this morning.
And to avoid plot holes, all of the descriptive words that you used came before the letter W, so she should know them.
That's true.
Yes, compassion, empathy, shit, even love. I guess they're all before W, so it's fine. You should already be programmed.
Exactly.
By the way, did I say screen grab or screen grab?
That's a good one.
All three of them are like doughy-eyed, but
You
Chris
know every
Tucker
single
is
time. Every single time I watch this movie, like I know the result, but it's just like I'm literally waiting for Chris Tucker to exhale and then accidentally blow out the match and just be like,
and blow it over. So they get wind to wind, fire to fire, or earth to earth, all that stuff, and the last match of the last thing. And if you missed it, the Matchbox had two matches when he wanted to smoke at almost the very beginning, or maybe just before he got his Floston Paradise tickets. I don't remember which one it is. It's in the apartment where he looks at it, he opens it up, and there's two, and he uses one to light his cigarette. And of course, evil is stopped, and we have a second moon. And I think Luc Besson did not think about the consequences of
that's not how physics works. Our planet would be so fucked. So utterly fucked. Not to mention the gravitational pull would kind of just keep going.
Yeah.
Because it said, it stopped 2 miles outside. Yeah, that sumbitch is coming in.
That's not that far. I didn't catch that they said 2 miles.
No, it's 2 miles. It's too close.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely comes in. But physics aside, we have 2 moons. Anyway, so of course the president tries to congratulate Corbin Dallas, and on the way to Corbin Dallas, he gets a telephone from.
Actually, he sees the professor. For the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Before he gets to the professor, he's on his way, and he gets a call, and the call's from Corbin Dallas's mom.
No, that's after. That's after. No.
I want to congratulate the mother of the savior of the earth. Oh, you don't sound like the president. The president is an idiot.
Yes. No, but that's after, because he says, well, they're busy, and it's the general that gets the call, and the general passes the phone over to the president.
Oh, okay.
Then it zooms in at the end with them.
Really, you know what? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. What's important is they fucking in the tube. They fucking whatever.
It's just that last piece of joke at the end that kind of gives you a nice little cherry finish, I would say, for the ending of the movie. Yes, and it's kind of that last bit, and then move on to I'm sorry, the dude, the scientist, is like, they're busy.
It's like they're gonna need at least 5 more minutes.
Oh, dude. It kind of has a round finish to it and sends you off into the next adventure, I would say. Woo!
And that's really kind of the good thing about the ending of the film is it's exactly what it was supposed to be. Yep. Completely tongue-in-cheek, lighthearted, and just dumb fun. It's like, yep, okay. Hey, it ends on a stupid joke. Okay, all right. We can see our protagonists together at the end. Okay, roll credits.
Cool. Let's summarize the movie. Fisty, you go ahead first. I know I've asked you at the beginning, how do you feel about the movie? But after we kind of delved into all the minutia, wait a second. Definitely second, third watch as well.
Yeah, no, definitely still with it. Like things like the what's really interesting is, like, especially like when watching some of your episodes too, and not even just like being a part of it, is you're talking about like the switch in the editing styles at this point in the movie, and like how they're doing the cuts and stuff like that. And like, well, obviously, like I'll notice things of like, they're doing like quick cuts like from person to person, like doing some things like that. I don't necessarily notice how they affect the narrative in a lot of ways, or like things like that, or small things like the matches or things like that. And so it gave me a little bit more of an appreciation for the movie, even though I already enjoyed it. And now I'm like, now I want to go back and watch it, not just because it's fun and it's like whatever else, but now I want to watch it again, if that makes sense.
It's one of those things where if the movie's good, if the narrative is good, if the characters are good, even if it's like a mystery or some sort of a crazy reveal at the end, you want to watch it again to pick up all the different points and was like, oh, that's that. Oh, and you either get disappointed from it, which can happen, or you're like, oh, this is smart. This is how we got there. And I didn't even realize it for the first time. I like this. Yeah. And then maybe even coming in with a different person and, oh, let's watch this because I thought I've seen this like a year ago. Let's rewatch it again and see if we get to pick up anything else, or just sit there and have some fun, have some laughs, and enjoy some comedy and some action and a good story.
Yeah. Like the first movie that did that for me, where I was like, no, like we could roll this back right now because I know I missed a lot, was Midsummer. Like that was the one where I was like, oh, I know, because like I was like, even I caught a little bit of symbolism, so that means like there's symbol and there are hidden, there's like, and I did, and I was like the entire movie was like, oh, so like that kind of feeling, like it's cool to watch a movie from that different lens. You know, it's something I'm gaining an appreciation for sure.
It's why some of the reasons why this show actually exists is from the love of enjoying movies. And we said this many times, right? Feelings that we're kind of rewatching some of these and critically watching them. And some of them we were like, oh, I found a whole different way of appreciating this. Or the opposite. It was like, I remember this movie good. I don't like it now.
I don't like it anymore.
Yeah. Feelings, few words just to round things up before we get to the last bit.
I think this is, I will disagree with your statement at the beginning, Meth. I don't think this is Besson's best film. I think it's still The Professional. Okay. I absolutely adore that film. I don't know if you ever seen The Professional before? Leon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you'll
add that to the list. But even before Weird Science.
Absolutely love it. It's a great film.
It's great story and great filmmaking all together. That's why it's really, and it's a powerful movie.
But overall, this is one of those films that at the end of the day is basically just a popcorn film. And going back and finding out all of these past details and the fact that the man wrote the film for over 20 years before it got made and did how many revisions of it, it just gave me more appreciation for it. And granted, I love this film growing up. I watched it countless times on VHS. That and also The Talented Mr. Ripley. I think I actually wore out both of VHS and the two of those films, which that's also a great film that we need to put on the list at some point in time.
Dude, the list is like so long.
We're in the middle of February.
Literally, Midsummer was on the list somewhere. Like, we didn't write it down, but it's literally, we need to get to Midsummer too. It's like, but you know,
we got a lot of stuff to do. We're still gonna do Hitchcock month too, which that's gonna be a great month. But no, this movie is again one of those films where you can not only just watch it, turn your brain off, and be like, Chris Tucker's funny. Or you can go like, oh wow, you can look into all the subtle nuances in it, and you can look at all of the different elements that, yes, pun intended, that this also inspired going forward in different sci-fi films.
Yes.
In the future, and then also tropes that this film helped create or that are exemplified it in there, because the inherent narrative of, again, the hero's journey, the prophesied hero, the last second save, the literal last second save, because that's one thing we didn't touch on. It was like, 1 second.
Yeah, exactly. That's movie tension.
Yes, I know.
Like movie tension. That's it.
But still, overall, at the end of the day, this is a film that I would recommend that anybody watch if they just want to have a good time overall. And if you want to dig it deeper, you can.
All right, cool. We're running a bit late, but I don't give a shit. Before we end the show, we have a little segment called the short version, where we get to see in about a couple minutes the entire movie. And now let me set this up because it always gets fucked. Here we go. The short version of The Fifth Element.
Here we go. The short version.
Aziz, right! Time not important, only
told you. Perfect.
Boom, yeah. I understand boom.
Bada boom.
Fifth.
Luke. Yan. Good.
My favorite.
Don't.
You are fired.
Auto wash.
Auto wash, yes, auto wash.
Lilu Dallas multipass.
It was bad. It had nothing, no fire, no energy, no nothing.
I am a little disappointed.
Miss Club Laguna wants you to know how glad she is that you're here. She'll give you what you've come to get after the concert.
They're not here. The Stones, where are they?
In me.
Kobe Dallas, my man. Kobe Dallas is in trouble.
Tay. Anybody else want to negotiate?
No. Because if you lose a bomb, the alarms will go off because all these hotels have bomb detectors, right?
I want to adventure.
New transmission.
Speciality.
And I said, we're not gonna make it.
Breathe. I would like to thank you.
Please, it doesn't even sound like him. The president's an idiot. You don't sound like an idiot.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. Next week, Mr. Feelings is going to have a little bit of a rest. Mr. Feelings is going to have a little bit of a downtime because he's going to celebrate with his family Independence Weekend with other stuff happening. I'm going to reveal. Don't worry. We will be joined, instead of All My Feelings, with a very special co-host, Saf, our mod from the chat, and we're gonna cover the movie Hackers from 1995. We're gonna have a guest as well. Let me see. I think he just messaged me. Oh, we're not gonna have a guest this week. Oh shit. Okay. Maybe not, but we're definitely going to have Saf filling in, Safira, my buddy Safira, filling in for All My Feelings. We're not going to start our special month only a week after, but next week is Hackers 1995. Awesome movie, awesome movie. And again, guys, if you like to interact with the show, you can DM me on Twitter at Mephisto or DM me at Mephisto79 on Instagram. You can email the show at the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. And of course, our good and fine guest, Mr. Fisticuffer. Go give him a follow on twitch.tv/littlefisticufer. And please enjoy his cooking stuff and other things as well. Good night to you guys. Have a great weekend. Chat, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Cheers, everybody.